And we're very happy to have in the studio with us now Bassam, the CEO and founder of Collaboration Management and Control Solutions, better known as CMCS, which is a project management and capacity builder. Good morning to you, Bassam. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
We'll talk about what a capacity builder is in just a moment, but you've carried out a survey into the reasons why projects fail in the Middle East. Firstly, what spurred you on to carry out this survey before we go on to the results?
Well, the big issue that we find around us that there are so many project investments that have been announced, and many of those project investments either fail to continue or fail to achieve whatever they were taken for. And the problem that whenever you have a failed project, it means funds that have been wasted, that other projects could have used more efficiently, and actually the people who invested those money, they could not get the benefit that they anticipated to get out of those projects.
Who did you ask or talk to about this survey? Where did the survey come from?
Well, the survey was in general across different clients in the region, but I have to admit the main response came from those involved in the engineering construction industry. Those represent like 80% of the respondents, where 20% came from other industries.
Is there ever one underlying reason for project failure?
Well, funny enough, there were three main reasons that they were almost near to each other. The first one was the absence of documented process for managing projects. So many of those organizations have reported that they don't have a standard procedure on how to manage projects from beginning to end. This was one of the reasons. The second one, which is actually it's a global issue, is lack of proper communication. There's a lack of communication between the different project stakeholders. And the third one, which is, I believe it's become quite known in our region, is the unrealistic target dates and budget set for project to be done. So we'd go for a project, you set the date, you set the budget, and people say we'll do it, and midway they find out that it can't be done.
Now, I had a look at this last night, was thinking, right, I was setting an unrealistic budget, not knowing what kind of timetable you should be setting, not knowing how long something's going to take, not communicating with your team, not planning. Doesn't that all just come under sort of the general category of incompetence?
Well, you can't say that. I mean, the biggest issue that project management faces, or managing projects in general face, that the majority of individuals who are involved with delivering projects, they've never been formally educated on project management. And actually, one of the surveys that we plan to do very soon is just to show how many people who are called project managers who have not taken any formal education on project management. So you anticipate that those who don't have that knowledge, they would fall in the same mistakes that would result in project failure than others.
Who chose these categories? Did you present them with the categories to vote on, or did they come up with them themselves?
Well, those are categories based on our experience. As CMCS, we've been working in this arena for many years. And based on our knowledge, those are similar reasons that, usually would be reported on global. So we try to check if the Middle East is in accordance with, global standards.
Because you said that most of the respondents came from the construction and the property industry. For them, I mean, it's all very well to sort of point your finger at improper planning and methodology, but really what's happened is that the market has been ripped out from under their feet. People simply aren't buying apartments and villas from them anymore. I mean, it's a total change in market scenario. That's really, I guess, the main reasons why projects have been failing here. You don't take that into account? Market conditions.
Well, you see, this would be taken into account if I was doing the survey on a developer level. So we're doing the survey on people who are doing the projects, whom really don't care much about whether the project gets sold out or not. We were talking about people who are involved in delivering the project itself.
Well, let's ask then what constitutes failure. At what point is a project considered a failure? For instance, I mean, would the unfinished tower blocks around Dubai, which are officially on hold, be designated failed projects?
Well, very good question, actually. I mean, failure right now, the definition globally is not about project going over budget or even late. The most critical element, did this project achieve the objective it was taken for? I mean, for example, I can take a project, let's say, to fulfill a need of a certain part of the country. Now, if you finish this project within budget and within the time you allot for, but it fails to achieve that objective, then it's a failed project. So failure goes beyond just budget and time, actually.
So you were quizzing people who are or have been working on projects here, yes?
Yes.
How likely are they to actually fully understand what went wrong with projects, or give an unbiased view as to what is stopping projects from, achieving their objectives if they're involved in projects?
Well, you see, for many of them, okay, there's some bias, okay, that, you try to report on what really you feel is the most critical issue that has faced in the project failure. You can't take that bias out, but in general, whatever the results were, they were very much true. Okay, you can feel those results even when you walk around in the market. Okay?
I guess I'm asking if, as you pointed out, a lot of people in project management have no sort of formal training in project management, are they going to be identifying or able to identify what goes wrong in project management?
Well, to some extent, yes. I mean, you see, if a project you feel that there's no communication going through, that you are asking things that are not happening. If you feel a project that whatever was approved or set for it's not true, then you report those. Actually, there's a very interesting statement for this. We call it political dates, which are dates that you put in a project just to get senior management approval, where from the beginning that those dates or budget will never be achieved.
The main reason, as you said, for project failure was seen to be improper planning and methodology, and that was 78% of respondents cited that. What do you see as coming under that heading? And the reason I'm asking this question is because I'm surprised to see that perhaps lack of market research wasn't a subject on its own.
Well, again, I need to differentiate two things. Okay, when we did the survey, we're not talking about, whether there was an excess of residential apartments was the failure. Okay, this would be true about market research. What we were talking more about, excusing the project itself. Now, when you're excusing the project itself, you try to not to look into the marketing of it, okay, or selling of it. You are looking more into that project that I was given the responsibility for managing. Did I achieve the target? Did I achieve the budget? Did I achieve the schedule? And so on.
If you were doing this survey in other parts of the world, would you expect to see similar results? I mean, are we better or worse when it comes to how many of our projects actually achieve their objectives?
I mean, I would say maybe we'll get the first two. Okay, maybe the third one you would think more about it, about setting a realistic date, because in certain countries, this could be considered as project fraud by trying to mislead the investor. Okay, so they will be thinking a lot about it instead of looking into putting the wrong dates. But for the first two, I would think those are global issues, and they are changing. I mean, we can see in the region, for example, many of the new clients are insisting contractors or other organizations who are delivering projects to prove that they have the proper procedures, to prove that they have the right systems, and even the right trained personnel working on the project.
I mean, that's the geographic answer. How different would have the answers have been, do you think, if we weren't coming off the back of a boom-to-bust situation? For instance, if you'd done the survey 7 or 8 years ago, how different do you think the answers would have been?
Well, really nobody would care about project failure at that time. I mean, the thing that there were high margins, people were working on high inefficiency, so nobody cared about project failure.
This is the key thing, isn't it, really, that we always pat ourselves on the back when things are going well and assuming we're doing everything right. It's only when things go wrong we start to review and wonder what went wrong, but we should be doing it when things are going as well as well. Well,
you're 100% correct. Actually, we can see it. Even many clients who would not talk to us during the boom time, now they're talking to us because now they see what we were telling them. It's quite true.
That's a good point. I mean, as a company that specialises in project management, what have you seen happen to demand for your services over the past 18 months?
Well, I can tell you since at least the date of the crisis as announced late 2008, we as CMCS, we grew to more than 15 new countries, and by size we grew to more than 3 times. So we can see actually a big demand on what we are offering right now than before.
Do companies have the money, though, to go to a specialist firm to get third-party outside project management at a time when, we've seen people over the last 18 months, particularly in the construction industry, having to lay off their own people?
Well, you see, part of it is correct, but I'll tell you what's been happening to us. Now we see clients are looking for value for money. So yes, we are offering our services are maybe at lower rates than before, at more challenge the client. So still clients are looking for services, but they want to get more value for what they are spending nowadays.
I mean, having identified the main reasons for past project failures, you'd like to think that future project owners would take note of these, but you know that that isn't going to happen, particularly come the next boom when common sense goes out of the window again. All of the line items of the survey are there because people get greedy, they forget common sense when easy money is around. Do you think that maybe common sense should have its own line in the survey?
Well, common sense for sure is very important because this is in everything we do. But to add this to your point, okay, like in the U.S., when the scandal of Enron and Philip Holzman happened, they passed a law called Sarbanes-Oxley. Part of that law, actually, it involves something that we call earned value, which is a key element of project management, which actually, if you try to fraud in project management or on delivering your project, you are penalized. So what I can see that maybe happen in the region, the government or the money owners or those who are interested in protecting them, they might pass new regulations or new laws that impose on companies who undertake projects to be transparent and to apply all those good practices.
We've been talking this morning about corporate governance and breaks and controls within systems as well, and it does seem as if there haven't been sufficient breaks and controls. People haven't been stopping, taking note of what's going on and moving forward. It's just gone willy-nilly, headlong into what has become a crisis.
I can tell you that this is not true in all places, because what we see right now happening in the UAE and in Saudi and some countries, nowadays there's a great interest about managing risk, which is something that people didn't do before. I mean, now many government agents and private sector, they're now so serious about managing risk, which is a key element of project management.
Bassam Samman, the CEO and founder of Collaboration Management and Control Solutions, CMCS, a UAE-based project management company. Thank you so much for coming in with the results of your survey this morning.
Thank you very much.